Hi, this is Rachel Israel with STEM News and Global World Report. We have breaking news that will have a huge impact on the global scene in the very near future. Let's take a look at what's going on around the world.
At least 5 major fires have been burning across Los Angeles County. The scale and spread has stretched firefighting crews. On the ground and in the air. 16,000 acres and counting consumed by the inferno. One street filmed by a local resident moments before he left.
I thought maybe I would be able to get some extra stuff that we didn't take and come to see that the whole street is just gone. It's like a war zone.
The sky turned an angry red. Flames devoured the hillsides, painting a nightmarish scene that seemed almost apocalyptic. The once serene landscape was now a battleground of fire and fury, with nature's wrath on full display. Los Angeles, the city of dreams, was engulfed in a nightmare of fire. The iconic skyline, usually a symbol of hope and opportunity, was now shrouded in thick, choking smoke. Flames licked the edges of the city, threatening to consume everything in their path. The year was 2025, and a series of catastrophic wildfires were tearing through Southern California. These fires were unlike any seen before, both in their intensity and their relentless spread. They moved with a ferocity that left little time for escape, catching many off guard. From the Pacific Palisades to the Hollywood Hills, homes were reduced to ash, and lives were upended. Families watched helplessly as their memories and possessions were consumed by the flames. The destruction was total, leaving behind a landscape of charred remains and broken dreams. The scale of the disaster was unprecedented. Entire neighborhoods were wiped out, and the damage stretched as far as the eye could see. The aerial views revealed a haunting panorama of devastation, a stark reminder of nature's uncontrollable power. 5 major fires raged, fueled by dry conditions and fierce winds. These elements combined to create a perfect storm, making the fires nearly impossible to contain. Firefighters battled tirelessly, but the odds were stacked against them as the infernos grew larger and more unpredictable. The largest, the Palisades fire, stretched for miles, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. It consumed everything in its path, from forests to homes, creating a scar on the landscape that would take years to heal. The sheer scale of the fire was a testament to its destructive power. The air crackled with heat, and the acrid smell of smoke permeated everything. It was a constant reminder of the ongoing disaster, making it difficult to breathe and see. The glowing embers floated through the air like fireflies, adding an eerie beauty to the otherwise grim scene. This was not just a disaster, it was an inferno, an all-consuming force that showed no mercy, leaving behind a trail of destruction and despair. The City of Angels was now a city of flames, and its residents could only watch and hope for the nightmare to end. Panic seized the city. The once bustling streets were now filled with chaos and confusion. People ran in every direction, trying to make sense of the sudden disaster that had befallen them. Sirens wailed day and night. The relentless sound of emergency vehicles became the city's new soundtrack, a constant reminder of the unfolding catastrophe. Hundreds of thousands of people were ordered to evacuate their homes. The urgency in their movements was palpable as they packed their cars with whatever they could grab in a hurry. Families fled with whatever belongings they could carry, leaving behind their lives and memories. The weight of their losses was heavy, but the need to survive pushed them forward. Highways were jammed with cars, a desperate exodus from the inferno. The roads, usually a symbol of freedom, now represented their only escape route. Temporary shelters overflowed with evacuees. These makeshift havens provided a brief respite, but the uncertainty of their situation loomed large. People huddled together, anxious and uncertain about the future. Conversations were filled with questions and fears, as they tried to piece together what had happened and what was to come. The lucky ones found refuge with friends or family. Reunions were bittersweet, filled with relief and sorrow, as they shared stories of their harrowing escapes. Others were left to grapple with the loss of their homes and the fear of what lay ahead. The devastation was immense, and the path to recovery seemed daunting and uncertain. Firefighters battled the blazes tirelessly, risking their lives to save others. But the fires were relentless, driven by the relentless Santa Ana winds. Water pressure plummeted as the city's aging infrastructure struggled to cope with the demand. The situation grew more dire by the hour. Mutual aid poured in from neighboring states, but the flames seemed unstoppable. It was a war against nature, and for a time it seemed as if nature was winning. The aftermath was a scene of utter devastation. Nearly 2,000 homes and businesses were reduced to smoldering rubble. The iconic landscapes of Los Angeles, once symbols of beauty and glamour, were now scarred and blackened. The financial cost of the fires was staggering, but the human cost was immeasurable. Lives were lost, dreams were shattered, and a sense of loss hung heavy in the air. The fires left behind a toxic legacy. The air quality in Los Angeles, already notorious for its smog, reached hazardous levels. A thick haze of smoke blanketed the city, making it difficult to breathe. Hospitals were overwhelmed with patients suffering from respiratory problems. Schools and businesses were forced to close. The city that never slept was choking on its own ashes. The Santa Ana winds, infamous for their role in fueling wildfires, were a major factor in the disaster. These winds, known for their dry and hot nature, originate from the high-pressure areas in the Great Basin and flow towards the coast. As they descend, they compress and heat up, creating the perfect conditions for wildfires to spread uncontrollably. These dry, hot winds, blowing down from the mountains, turn the fires into raging infernos. The combination of low humidity and high temperatures made the vegetation extremely flammable. Once a fire started, the winds would fan the flames, causing them to spread rapidly across the landscape, consuming everything in their path. The winds were so powerful that they could pick up embers and carry them for miles, starting new fires far from the original blaze. This phenomenon, known as spotting, made it incredibly difficult for firefighters to contain the wildfires. The embers could land on dry brush or structures, igniting new fires and creating a domino effect of destruction. It was a stark reminder of the awesome power of nature and the importance of respecting its fury. The aftermath of the wildfires left a charred landscape, a testament to the destructive force of the Santa Ana winds. Communities were left to rebuild and recover, forever changed by the relentless winds that had swept through, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake.
Join me as I dive into the chaos and try to understand how hundreds of thousands of people are fleeing from the deadly LA fires that are raging out of control. Los Angeles is in a state of emergency as wildfires continue to spread rapidly across the city, forcing hundreds of thousands of people to flee their homes. The situation is dire, with flames engulfing everything in their path and smoke billowing into the air. Residents are facing unimaginable challenges as they try to escape the inferno. The fires are moving so fast that people are literally being forced to run for their lives. Emergency services are doing their best to contain the situation, but it's an uphill battle. The scale of the disaster is so vast that it's difficult to even comprehend. The fires are spreading rapidly, fueled by strong winds and dry conditions. It's like a nightmare scenario come to life, with flames erupting in multiple locations and emergency services struggling to keep up. People are being forced to leave behind everything they own, with many not knowing if they'll ever be able to return to their homes. The bravery of the firefighters is inspiring, but even they are being stretched to the limit. They're working tirelessly to evacuate people and put out the flames, but it's a daunting task. The situation is so dire that even the emergency services are having to evacuate their own stations. The causes of the fires are still unknown, but it's clear that climate change is playing a role. The dry conditions and strong winds are creating a perfect storm for wildfires to spread rapidly. The impact on local communities is devastating, with many left feeling helpless and scared. The areas most affected are those in the north of the city, where the fires are spreading rapidly. Entire neighborhoods are being evacuated, with people forced to flee to safety. The stories of those who have lost their homes are heartbreaking, and it's clear that the impact of this disaster will be felt for a long time to come. One family I spoke to had to flee their home in the middle of the night, leaving behind everything they owned. They're now living in a temporary shelter, unsure of what the future holds. It's a story that's being repeated across the city, as people are forced to flee their homes and start again from scratch. The bravery of the firefighters has been inspiring, with many risking their lives to save others. One firefighter told me about how they had to rescue a family of 4 from their burning home. It's stories like these that remind us of the importance of community and the bravery of those who are fighting to keep us safe. One of the most pivotal moments in this crisis came when the mayor issued a mandatory evacuation order for the entire city. It was a drastic measure, but one that was necessary to save lives. The scene was chaotic, as people rushed to leave the city and get to safety. As the situation continues to unfold, it's clear that this is a crisis that will have a long-lasting impact on the city. The fires are still raging out of control, and it's unclear when they will be brought under control. The importance of community support during times like these cannot be overstated. Join the conversation in the comments below and share your thoughts on how you've been affected by wildfires. And if you want to learn more about emergency preparedness, be sure to check out some of our other videos.
Well, that's the news for tonight. Thank you so much for continually supporting our content. If you did enjoy this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, and share this with your friends and family. I'm sure they would find it interesting as well. We're very excited to continue this journey with you. We thank you all for bringing certain stories to our attention, and for continually keeping us updated with certain events around the world.